News Channel 546 at 11.
Thanks for being here. I'm Sarah Rosenthal. Phil and Veronica had the night off. Stephen Bannon, a longtime ally to former President Trump, is expected to surrender to authorities on Monday to be arraigned. Bannon was indicted today on 2 counts of contempt of Congress after defying a congressional subpoena from the House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. Skylar Henry has our top story.
The federal grand jury indictment accuses Steve Bannon of 2 counts of contempt of Congress. It comes after Bannon snubbed a September subpoena from the House committee investigating the January 6th assault on the Capitol. In October, the House voted along party lines to submit criminal contempt charges against Bannon to the Department of Justice. The committee alleges he appears to have played a multifaceted role in the events of January 6th and had specific knowledge about them, including this warning on his podcast, January 5th.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow. It's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen, okay? It's going to be quite extraordinarily different.
This is an important step for the Department of Justice. And I do know people thought it was, a attorney general decision. I suppose ultimately the buck stops with him.
President Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, had until Friday to respond to a subpoena from those same House investigators. He was also a no-show. Committee chairs Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney issued a statement saying Bannon's indictment should send a clear message to anyone who thinks they can ignore the panel or try to stonewall its investigation. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The Justice Department says each count of contempt of Congress carries a maximum of 1 year in jail and a fine up to $1,000. And to that Xfinity outage now, there is some good news tonight. If you lost internet yesterday, you can call the company and ask for a $5 credit. Comcast tells KION there were 2 separate disruptions impacting folks in Salinas. Now, you shared with us what you did until the internet came back. Everything from reading books to walking your dog. And one family told us they went bowling. Nice to connect with each other face to face, even if it was just for a little while. Now we have a nice weekend in store. Erica Bertine has our weather for this weekend. Erica?
Hey, Sarah. Well, I can tell you one thing. You're not going to need that jacket unless you have some overnight plans. It's going to be another gorgeous day tomorrow, and even as we head into Sunday. As far as those low clouds we typically see, well, we're very well mixed out there, and so we're not seeing those low clouds anywhere around our coastal locations. We could see patchy fog in our valley locations through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. We saw that this morning in the Gilroy area, but as far as the rest of the Central Coast, we're looking at mostly clear skies through the overnight hours. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those temperatures today, because yeah, we saw some 80s out there once again today. 82 for Fort Hunter Liggett, King City at 80, 79 for Salinas Bradley, 84, and 70s for other locations around the coast, 76 for Hollister, and Monterey 78. Now compared to yesterday, well, we did warm up across the board on the Central Coast. We saw anywhere from a few degrees warmer to places like Bradley that saw 7 degrees warmer than what we were yesterday afternoon. Now, if you don't have any plans for tomorrow, I just want to quickly do a weekend hotspot for you to get you outside. Here's a great picture of Elkhorn Slough. If you've never been, this is a great day to try it out. We're going to see temperatures in the mid-70s out there, mostly sunny skies for both days. And if you're curious about a weekend spot, go ahead and send your picture on over and we'll do a forecast for you next weekend. But like I said, this nice weather isn't going to last. We do have a little bit of a change heading our way, and I'll have your full forecast in just a bit.
Thanks, Erica. Monterey County Sheriff began evicting people who were living in the parking lot in front of the Monterey County Coastal District's office. KION's Jonathan Sarabia, he was there and he spoke to people who were forced to leave, and he also spoke with the sheriff. Jonathan?
The Monterey County Coastal District office parking lot in Marina was a temporary parking place for people without shelter who needed a place to park their trailers and cars overnight. But now they must look for another place to park.
We had until the 12th to ultimately evacuate the premises.
Leanne Burr is one of the several people evicted from the parking lot. She says before arriving to the parking lot, she rented a room for $700. But she says it was difficult to pay rent, which is why she decided it would be best to buy a car.
Homelessness isn't a new thing to me. You know, obviously I've been struggling with this off and on over the years. You know what I mean? I've never established myself, probably because of this situation, you know?
In 2017, the Safe Parking Program was created to deal with illegal camping in Marina. The program allowed up to 15 cars and RVs to park between 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And according to the Monterey County Sheriff's Department, the situation got out of hand, where people who weren't part of the program started to park in the lot and were not respecting the hours or the rules under the program.
There was people here that those vehicles haven't moved since the day they got parked here. They don't even run. That's why they've had to been towed. Mechanics had to come out today and get several vehicles running so that they could drive them away. So yeah, the people turned it into a permanent residency, which is what it was. It was never designed to be that.
And according to Sergeant Simpson, people have been warned for months that this day was coming.
And at some point several weeks ago, we came out and actually tagged the vehicles. We did not follow up and actually start removing vehicles after that, in kind of hopes that people would realize we're moving in that direction. Earlier this week, I believe on Monday, we came out, started tagging vehicles, and we've been here every day since so that they'd know this was not a bluff, that vehicles were going to be removed today.
Wildfire Daystar was another person living at the parking lot, and she, along with others, argued not enough time was given. She says she had to work 3 jobs to pay rent. However, because of the high cost, she had no choice but to live in an RV. And she says the only solution is to lower the cost of rent.
That's how a lot of homeless people became homeless. There's still people here that have 3 jobs, and they have to live in their rent because they can't afford rent. We need to start demanding that California lowers their rent, lower the cost of living, because it is the future that's going to be paying for this too.
People I spoke to say they have no idea where to go from here, but they're hoping to be able to find a new place to park their home. Reporting from the News Center, Jonathan Sarabia, KION News, Channel 546.
Thanks, Jonathan. A pedestrian is dead after being struck by a vehicle early this morning in Hollister. Hollister police say a driver going northbound on San Felipe Road hit a 49-year-old man near McCloskey Wright Road in Hollister at around 4 a.m. Police say the driver did call 911 and he could not see the man walking in the road. Police noted that drugs and alcohol do not appear to be a factor in this case. New tonight, hoping to generate new leads in the freeway killing of little Jasper Wu. Oakland Chinatown officials announced a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the gunman who took part in the shootout. The nearly 2-year-old Wu was riding in a car seat with his family on the I-880 freeway last Saturday afternoon when he was hit by a stray bullet. At a press conference today, Oakland Chinatown Chamber of Commerce President Carl Chan, he said changes need to be made so criminals don't run the streets. Chan is calling the California Highway Patrol to add more street patrols.
Now, we have to do a lot of things to see how we can make these changes. We cannot allow criminals keep taking over our streets. So that's something that we all need to do together.
The chamber joins with the Crimes Against Asians and San Francisco Police Officers Association to offer the $10,000 reward. Turning now to our coronavirus coverage, the San Benito County Vaccine Incentive Program has received an additional $250,000 in funding. Anyone living in San Benito County, including minors who get fully vaccinated after August 9th, is eligible for the $200 cash incentive program. Qualified individuals can also receive a $25 gift card after they receive their first dose, that is. Gift cards are available at 351 Trey Pinos Road in Hollister, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, vaccine mandates in Los Angeles, they continue to evolve. Tom Waite, he has the latest on the changes and reaction from the community.
Our meeting is adjourned.
LA City Council wrapped up its meeting Friday with some modifications to the vaccine mandate, the one that requires businesses like restaurants, bars, salons, and others to check for vaccine IDs. Shopping malls are now off of that list, and now kids under 12 won't have to show proof of vaccination.
I think it's good. It makes me feel better.
Helen Edwards says even with the modifications, keeping the checks mostly in place was the right thing to do.
I actually work in public health, so yeah, it just means to me you're doing what you need to do for the community health. It's not about my body. I mean, because it's a contagious disease, so it's not just about you.
At Roots Indian Bistro on Melrose, they've just recently opened. Checking for vaccines is just part of the new normal.
Honestly, we had one instance where they were not vaccinated and they wanted to actually come in. Unfortunately, due to the city laws, we couldn't actually, invite them in.
Deep Kinda and his family own the restaurant. They've been doing their best to accommodate everyone, but also want to keep people safe.
So hopefully, people will start to get vaccinated at the end of the day. I understand it's a choice thing, but it's like, if it makes us safe, we definitely should.
But the mandate, modified or not, still has some folks frustrated.
I'm fully vaccinated, but I think it's optional. It should be optional for people, in certain situations.
Some restaurants like In-N-Out have been publicly defiant about enforcing the mandate. Ahead of Friday's council vote, we spoke with council member Kevin De Leon and asked whether the council is aware of some business owners' frustrations about having to enforce the ordinance.
We understand that completely, 100%, but we're in this together as a community, as Angelenos. In a moment of great crisis, humanitarian crisis, we really need to depend on each other.
Businesses will still have time to make adjustments. That's because the city won't start issuing fines until November 29th. In the Fairfax District, I'm Tom Waite, CBS 2 News.
And KIOM will keep you posted as those mandates unfold. Coming up, new developments in Houston on who will be held accountable for the death of 9 people at the Astroworld Festival. Travis Scott's attorney is speaking out tonight. Plus, a Greenfield man faces jail time for domestic abuse. Those details later. And Erica Brettine, she joins us in 2 minutes for her full weather forecast. Stay with us.
For local stories that matter, watch KION 546.
Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Introducing the best deal in mobile. Unlimited on 2 or more lines for just $29.99 a line.
Unlimited for $29.99. This offer's gonna take off.
Get the best deal in mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data for just $29.99 a line. With no contracts, no added taxes, and no hidden fees. Includes nationwide 5G.
That's amazing.
Save up to 60%. Call 844-882-2999. Click or visit a store near you.
Information, visit our Central Coast experts page at KION546.com.
The x-rays from your urgent care visit look good. Just stay off that leg, okay?
What about my rec team? I'm all they got.
Next season.
Thanks, Doc. Wow, you already scheduled my PT. I love doctors who work with athletes.
Does he know you tripped over a basketball?
That's a sports injury.
At Kaiser Permanente, we make getting care easy so you can get back on the court quicker.
It's time to get holiday ready with Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks. Or with Ford Explorer, America's all-time best-selling SUV. And come home in a Ford Bronco Sport. That's how you get holiday ready. Get 0% financing for 60 months plus 1,000 retail bonus cash on a 2021 Ford Escape, Edge, and Explorer, only at your California Ford dealers.
Parts of Washington state, they were drenched today following heavy rainfall. Flooding is expected to intensify until tomorrow. However, we have a dry and warm weekend in store across the Central Coast. KION's Erica Brettine, she has the latest with weather. Erica, how's the weekend looking?
Sarah, we need the rain, but we're just not going to see any anytime soon. Like you mentioned, this weekend is going to be warm and mild. We do have some changes on the way, though. This really takes effect into next week. And like I mentioned, no sign of any showers or rain, at least in the immediate future here. Here's what we're looking at through the overnight hours. We're going to continue to see those 50s through the overnight hours, ending up in those low 50s, even seeing some 40s in the valley locations. That's because we have a clear night out there. We don't have those clouds acting like a blanket keeping us warm. So temperatures are still going to be fairly cool overnight, but we will warm right back up into similar temperatures that we were seeing today, and that's what you can expect for the rest of the weekend. We do have this ridge of high pressure right now. We have that high just sitting off to the west. That's helping to keep all these systems up to the north of us, and we'll continue to see that high pressure remain dominant through the weekend. But we do have a little change on the way, and like I mentioned, this starts on Monday. This ridge will start to weaken. This will actually help build this trough into the area, and as you can see, we have this cold front that will move by. Now we won't see any rain out of it, but what will happen is we will start to see the increase of some of those clouds out there, and we will start to see some of those cooler temperatures as well, and that's going to be for the coastal locations and for our inland locations. But as far as tomorrow goes, well, look at that. We're seeing mostly sunny skies yet again. Even for our coastal locations, those low clouds are going to remain off to the west of us, so we will remain clear even for our coastal areas into the valley locations up into Hollister and the Morgan Hill and Gilroy area as well. It's going to be another gorgeous day, so if you don't have any of those weekend plans outside, I highly recommend you do so, because like I said, we will see a little bit cooler temperatures and cloud cover as we head into next week. That trend is going to continue into Sunday. Not much to talk about here, not seeing a cloud in the sky. Temperatures, oh, it's going to be a nice one. We're going to see nice beach days in Santa Cruz, 76 in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Will be in those mid to upper 70s. Now, we're not seeing warm temperatures up in the Santa Cruz area because we do have somewhat of a northerly wind, so that is helping to keep some of our northern spots slightly cool. However, Big Sur, you are our hot spot today at 86, and I'll show you why. 75 for Bonnie Doon and 74 for Davenport there, and we'll continue to see those 70s around our coastal locations. Watsonville 77, Cashville 77. We will even tap into some 80s for the Salinas area, upper 70s for the Santa Clara Valley, and upper 70s for Hollister, comfortable 70s for the coastal locations, even around the Monterey Peninsula, 77 for Monterey, 76 for Carmel by the Sea. Up and down the Salinas Valley, we're going to continue to see those 80s, slightly lower 80s in the north part of the valley, but as we head south, we will start to see those mid 80s in places like Bradley and even into Pinnacles. 84 for Big Sur tomorrow. A gorgeous day. Here's what you can expect for the next 7. We are going to continue to see that nice weather as we head into even Monday, but Monday again is our game changer, so we will start to see those temperatures fall ever so slightly. Tuesday is when we'll really start to see those low clouds push back into our area, temperatures dipping back into those 60s, and actually those upper 60s you're seeing there is what we typically expect for this time of year. So even though it's cooler, that's what our average normals are for this time of year. That's going to be the trend as we end the week next week as well. But for our inland locations, we're going to see those 80s for the next couple of days, dipping back into those 70s on Monday, increase in clouds on Tuesday. And then even for our inland locations, we'll start to see the return of those 60s, but plenty of sunshine out there. And one last thing I want to mention on Friday, and I think we have a better chance of seeing this for our inland locations, we do have a Beaver Moon lunar eclipse, and supposedly this eclipse is going to be partial and one of the longest lasting eclipses that we've probably seen, they say, in about a century.
Thanks, Erica. A week after a Houston music festival turned deadly, more questions emerging over who should be held accountable for the 9 deaths and hundreds of injuries resulting from the crowd surge. The question of safety measures at the 50,000-person event has been a focal point, as lawsuits against rapper Travis Scott, festival organizers, and others are mounting. Chris Wynn has the latest.
In Houston, a desperate plea for answers and accountability.
Nobody should ever die from going to a concert.
1 week after the Astroworld Music Festival turned deadly.
People were literally fighting for their life just to try to get out of there.
The death toll now up to 9 as family members demand justice for their loved ones. A 9-year-old boy who is seriously injured remains in a medically induced coma, according to his family's lawyer. Many concert goers describing the experience as traumatizing.
I remember being crushed from every side by human bodies.
With the crowd of about 50,000 tightly packed in places, some in the audience said it felt like a death trap as waves of people surged toward the stage during Travis Scott's performance. Officials say he continued to play for about 30 minutes after emergency services declared the concert a mass casualty event.
We don't know when he was notified, if he was notified, and then to what degree.
More than 90 lawsuits have now been filed against the rapper, Live Nation, and other festival organizers. But Scott's attorney maintains he didn't know what was happening in the crowd or of the emergency services declaration.
He's up there trying to perform. He does not have any ability to know what's going on down below.
The festival organizer and promoter released a joint statement saying full refunds are being offered for all those who bought tickets and that a fund is being set up to help with costs for medical expenses. I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
KIN will continue to release any new information on this tragedy as it continues to unfold. Coming up, gang members on the run, now behind bars. Details on those charges and what authorities found during the investigation. Plus, international travel is making a return. What this means for those living in Cuba.
For local stories that matter, watch KION 546.
We love our house. Been here for years.
Yeah, but there's an animal in the attic. At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
We save a lot.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
For all of your improvement projects, make sure you have a plan and trust a local licensed professional. You'll be glad you did. Sponsored by Kastner Exterminating, Pest Control Expert, Associated Services Heating, Solar and Air, and Wilson's Plumbing and Heating, Expert Plumbing Services.
Community Human Services, providing mental health, substance abuse, and homeless services to Monterey County since 1969. Check out chservices.org. Community Human Services. Hope, help, here.
There's never been a better time to switch to Xfinity. Get the fast and reliable internet you deserve for only $19.99 a month for 12 months. And for the first time ever, score 12 times the speed for the same price when you add Xfinity Mobile. That's more speed and more value for the same price. Switch now to Xfinity Internet to power all your devices and get started for just $19.99 a month. Plus, for a limited time, get $300 back and a 5G phone on us. Get this deal before it's gone. Click, call, or visit a store today.
Turning now to your crime alert, the Monterey County District Attorney's Office says a man in Greenfield has been found guilty of domestic violence and child cruelty. Authorities say the man you see on your screen here, Carlo Hernandez, he got into an argument with the mother of his children in June. During the argument, Hernandez grabbed the mother, pulled her by the hair, and punched her in the face in front of their 3 young children. The Greenfield Police Department arrested Hernandez following the incident. Hernandez, he has been sentenced to 3 years of probation and 120 days in jail. And continuing with our crime alert, the Monterey County Sheriff's Office says 2 gang members who were on the run, they're behind bars tonight. According to the Sheriff's Office, detectives tracked down the 2 suspects who were from Salinas and Soledad in the city of Gilroy. Authorities say drugs and burglary tools were found. The suspect was from Salinas was sentenced to 12 years in prison for assault with a deadly weapon. Both suspects were booked in the Monterey County Jail for their warrants, along with weapon and drug-related charges. Coming up, the Free Britney movement is coming to an end, but for reasons supporters say are monumental. Stay with us.
For local stories that matter, watch KION 546.
At Santa Cruz County Bank, we put our money where our life is. We now have offices from Silicon Valley to Monterey. As a community bank, our focus is success for local business and the community. If you're ready for a positive change in your business and your banking relationship, talk to us at Santa Cruz County Bank. Good things happen when you put your money where your life is.
Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Introducing the best deal in mobile. Unlimited on 2 or more lines for just $29.99 a line. All on a nationwide 5G network that provides the best overall experience and reliability. Call 844-677-2999.
Unlimited for $29.99. This offer's gonna take off.
We changed the rules when we introduced mobile with no contracts, no added taxes, and no hidden fees. And now we're doing it again, making it easier to get unlimited for less with our best deal ever. Get unlimited from Spectrum Mobile for just $29.99.
That's amazing.
It's the best deal in mobile.
Join the millions who've switched and get the best deal in mobile. Unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide 5G included for just $29.99 and save up to 60%. Call 844-677-2999. Click SpectrumMobile.com or visit a store near you.
Girls shouldn't make it difficult for a fellow to ask for a date.
Troubled kids headed for trouble.
Let's hope that their troubles are over.
Britney Spears is free of the conservatorship that has ruled her life, career, and finances for nearly 14 years. Los Angeles Judge Brenda Penny terminated the court-ordered arraignment Friday at the request of the pop star's legal team, ending her years-long battle. The hearing was the first since her father, Jamie Spears, was suspended from his role as a co-conservator. The decision comes months after Spears delivered a blistering statement about the conservatorship in court this June, calling it, quote, abusive, and saying it left her feeling, quote, bullied and alone.
This is a monumental day for Britney Spears. It's also a somber day for me, for Britney, and I think for a lot of us who have been following conservatorships and how they operate. This conservatorship was corrupted by James P. Spears.
On September 29th, Penny suspended Jamie Spears from the conservatorship that has controlled his daughter's life, career, and finances since 2008. As Germany tightens its COVID restrictions, many are going by the wayside for international visitors headed to Cuba. On Monday, the island nation will reopen to foreign travelers and remove many of its pandemic requirements. As Patrick Ottman reports, tourism is a cash cow that Cuba cannot afford to lose.
Workers in Old Havana make final repairs ahead of Cuba's big reopening. For most of the pandemic, the island has been closed to international tourism. Nearly all international flights were canceled. Visitors had to quarantine. Once packed colonial squares and bars where Ernest Hemingway downed mojitos were all but abandoned. It hit the many Cubans who depend on tourism particularly hard. For 30 years, Alberto Reyes says he made a living selling drawings to tourists in front of Havana's cathedral. He told us he hasn't sold a single one during the pandemic. My hope now is to be able to provide for my kids, he says. I have 3 kids and we were going hungry. Starting on Monday, Cuba will increase international flights and welcome back tourists. Now visitors who are fully vaccinated or have had a negative PCR test 72 hours before arrival will no longer have to quarantine. Cuban officials say the massive effort to vaccinate the population with homegrown vaccines has allowed them to welcome back tourists and their badly needed hard currency. Our population keeps getting vaccinated, he says. Everything indicates our scientists have made a discovery of great value for our people. And I think we are very well positioned. We are optimistic. But the pandemic isn't the only impediment preventing some tourists from coming. Sanctions implemented by the Trump administration and continued by the Biden administration severely limit the ways Americans can visit the island and prevent them from staying in government-run hotels. Throughout the pandemic, the Cuban government has continued to build new hotels like never before. But many of these projects began when U.S.-Cuban relations were much improved and U.S. tourists were flooding the island. Now, even as COVID travel restrictions are lifted, most Americans won't be able to visit because of U.S. sanctions. Some tour operators say clients may be wary of visiting Cuba after widespread anti-government protests shook the island in July. The Cuban government responded with mass arrests and lengthy jail sentences, which led to more U.S. sanctions.
And so when things get challenging between the United States and Cuba, or there's a lot of political turmoil or other negative kind of flashpoints on the ground, that certainly dissuades people from looking at Cuba as a destination.
Cuban officials say they are now open to visitors, but to rebuild the island's tourism industry, they may have a long road ahead of them. Patrick Ottman, CNN Havana.
Coming up, a man in Sierra Madre, California gets a surprise guest for dinner. Stay with us.
What are these white things? We didn't see these today. We did see some low clouds, and I have your pick of the day to show them. We'll be right back on the other side of the break.
KION is brought to you by County of Monterey Public Health.
You like that? Every time.
Shh. You think she's still awake?
Don't worry.
Stealth mode?
Yeah.
Shh.
Don't PTA meetings end at 9?
Oh, got lost.
Wait. What'd you guys talk about?
The math.
Libraries.
Fine, you can drive to practice this weekend.
Well, that was easy.
The Lexus RX, built for modern families.
Get 1.9% APR financing on the 2022 RX 350.
The light is at the end of the tunnel and opportunity awaits. Now is the time to move forward and find your freedom again. With Central Coast Federal Credit Union's auto loan, you have the freedom to go where you want and get back on the road again in your dream car. We offer competitive rates and terms, which gives you incredibly affordable payments. Now is the best time to buy your dream vehicle or motorcycle. Find your freedom at Central Coast Federal Credit Union.
Hit the road with a fresh new Toyota and get ready for what's next. Fill up on new experiences and forge an adventure you'll never forget. New Toyotas are arriving daily. Get $500 cash back on the stylish Camry and 52 mpg Camry Hybrid when you finance with Toyota. All Toyotas come with Toyota Safety Sense and Toyota Care Standard. Toyota, let's go places.
When he moved in, there's double the clothes, double everything.
With California Closets, we've really been able to create spaces together.
Because of California Closets, I'm no longer shoving my husband's stuff into the dark corners to find my favorite pair of shoes.
The closet's big and peaceful.
I didn't expect to use my closet in the way that we hang out there now.
We've had some of the better conversations.
In our closet.
In our closet. It's a magical space.
Because of caring people like you, these children were given a second chance. Hi, my name is Monica Tovar, and my mother was temporarily in the foster care system. I would like you to consider becoming a resource family for Monterey County children that need loving, supportive foster homes. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Kids in foster care will love you just the same. Monterey County will support you every step of the way. Be that helping hand, because no child makes it alone.
A California man had a shocking surprise when he found some uninvited guests at his home last month. 3 bears made themselves at home in his house. While the mama bear was outside watching the house, her 2 cubs were inside ransacking the home and eating the man's chicken. Fortunately, after a few minutes, the 2 cubs decided to make an exit and join their mama outside. Very unexpected guest.
Absolutely. Not who you typically want for your Thanksgiving dinner.
Exactly. You have a picture for us?
Yes, absolutely. This is a gorgeous picture from Randall Alvarado. Thank you so much for sending this in. This is Tres Pinos. Low clouds hanging out in the valley. Tomorrow you're looking at temperatures in the upper 70s.
Oh, a nice weekend in store. Very exciting. Thanks for joining us.